That boy floats into the room.
Hey, man.
What up, dog? How you doing, fam? Pleasure, brother. Pleasure, boy. Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Pleasure, man.
All right, no?
How you feeling?
I'm good, good.
Hey, Chan. Hey, Chan, he said he gonna dress you from now on for the show.
I got him today.
So y'all look good.
How you got him today?
No, this is the problem. Because I told them and they didn't have a clue.
What's that?
I left my shoes home, bro.
What you mean? How you do
I
that?
left my ones at the crib because I'm trying to put together some outfits, and I
Okay.
only travel with a carry-on.
Right.
They just didn't make the cut. I'm sorry, bro.
I mean, there's a bunch of sneaker stores that you can buy.
I've been sitting on these since you dropped them.
Oh, back in 2018.
Fresh.
Wow.
Fresh.
It's only one of us here that got their own shoe,
They know
right?
what my
Yeah, only
collection.
one of us.
They know what my
Only one of us.
collection
Okay.
looks
It
like.
ain't but one of us.
I had to show them what it looked like. So,
Right.
but I'm gonna sit on them.
I
We'll
know.
make it happen.
I appreciate
Put some ink
that.
on
You
it.
also got to realize when he packs his bag, he sticks his drawers in his shoes.
I do.
I learned that today.
Look.
Yo, I put my socks in my shoes
And
and like
like-
condense the space, you know what I mean? That's the
Yeah,
best way
and you
to
don't
go.
get the creases.
Right.
Ta-da.
I just
Put
bring
your
extra
drawers in your
bags.
shoes. Them white drawers you have on.
I don't wear white drawers. We done had this conversation. That's picking up a garbage can with a white sheet. Why would you put trash around something white?
As a BMXer though, I know you can't wear no white drawers because you got to sit back on that seat sometimes.
Man, listen, like, you can't. I'm usually wear black or gray, man, because like when I bunny hop, like the back tire kind of like in that area. So, you know, so
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got pin in it. I fought to hear to witness it. Get my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got pin in it. I fought to hear to witness it. Get my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key.
But welcome to the show. You
Thank
have
you.
truly been the epitome of what the pivot is.
Right.
To pursue a career in what has largely been a white sport and not only become a huge star while doing it, but step outside of that and build your brand enough to not only write books and publish books or have docu-series that people follow, but turn around and start to give things back to the community, which is something we all hope to do in the places that we come from. This is Chan, I'm RC, this is Freddie T. Thank you to our partners over at Happy Dad, our sponsors at DraftKings, everyone who supports the show, subscribes, likes, views. We truly appreciate y'all. There is no pivot without y'all, man. Just thinking about it, a kid from, Laurelton?
Yep.
Laurelton, Queens, right? Immigrant parents.
Yeah. Mom and dad both.
Immigrant parents growing up, and anytime we talk to kind of like first generation kids, it's always be a doctor,
Right.
be a lawyer, or do something that we feel like we've sacrificed that makes sense for us. You were forced to go to college.
Yeah.
So how does that kid who grows up in that household, in that place, become Nigel Sylvester?
I was hyper as a kid, and I always say like bicycle riding was my outlet. You know what I mean? I played basketball, loved football, like I'll still go play flag or something if I could, you know what I mean? I was in music class for a minute. My mom put me in like piano class. I drew a lot, so my mom put me in like art class for a minute. But the bicycle was the one place that I felt the most fulfillment, the most joy, purpose as well. I felt purpose like through the bicycle. And through those experiences of going out riding with my friends or exploring my neighborhood, I would like jump curb cuts, or I would like try to pop a wheelie as long as I can and bunny hop off of like curbs and whatnot. And I would take like a board, like an old tire, and make a ramp, or like a cinder block and a board and make a ramp, go as fast as I can, hit that thing and just fly through the air. And it was that feeling that turned into like an obsession and then a love, you know, and I needed that. It fueled me, you know?
Did you have to convince your family, your parents, like, did they ever yell, Nigel, get off your damn bike and go do some work? You know, like, cause the vision is beautiful, but
Right.
even to me as a father, like if my son was like, hey dad, I'm gonna go ride a bike. But like, okay, didn't go do something productive.
Of course, and my mom was that way, right? She gave me the freedom to explore on my bicycle, right, and explore that love and that passion I have for it. But it was always like, make sure that you're doing like your schoolwork, make sure you're taking care of like your chores around the house, things of that, like that nature. But she didn't know I had this idea in my mind to pursue it like, professionally. She didn't know that at all. But she gave me the freedom though.
And growing up in Queens, how was your block? I envision it as a diverse, space, because where I'm from in the South, we rode bikes, but not to the extent where we would want to become BMXers.
Right.
Like you would see the sport itself. It seemed that it was more white kids doing it. How was your upbringing?
Well, Laurelton, Queens is like 95% black.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And you think about the bicycle, right? Like, so many kids ride bicycles in their youth, right? Like, it's just it's like a rite of passage, like you know what I mean? Just what kids do, right? So a lot of kids in my neighborhood had bicycles, right? They would ride to the park or ride to the store, or we'd go on big group bike rides, like the next neighborhood, and go play football. Like, it would be like Laurelton versus Cambria. You know what I mean? Like, we'll meet up at the park and play like football and whatnot. So a lot of kids rode bikes. It usually stopped at like a certain level, right? Like, you turn like 14, 15, 16 years old, so you start thinking about, I want a car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then kids like naturally phase out of riding bikes and start to drive cars, get a learning permit, driver's license, etc. But for me, it was like, man, like, it's something here. Like, let me continue riding my bicycle. I would drive my car to the bike shop to get parts, and then come back, fix my bike,
makes zero
and then
sense to
ride
me.
it.
that makes zero. We're gonna drive to the bike shop
Right.
to get on something with two wheels
Right.
that I got to pedal.
There we go.
That people don't respect when they're driving down the street. In the car, I drove over here.
Right.
You done see some of his videos?
Yeah.
He doesn't respect the cars.
That's true.
That's a car, bro.
I'm like, get out of my way. Like,
Did you ever think that riding a bike and being pretty much a daredevil would land you in some of the amazing places around the world that you've been to? And with that, what's been your most memorable and favorite locations, when you traveled?
I mean, yeah, so like growing up for me, I would watch it on TV. So I watch guys like Dave Mirra compete in X Games, win gold medals and live this like BMX rock star lifestyle. And there was a bunch of guys like that. So I knew it exists. I knew it was possible. I just had to figure out how to get there through watching it on TV, through BMX magazines. This is pre-internet, right? You couldn't just go online and like Google, well, how to become a professional BMX athlete, or like whatever questions you may have, So it was definitely just finding other kids in my neighborhood who also rode bikes, you know what I mean? Like, who had that same passion for doing tricks, not just using it for transportation, but using it to like, I want to go jump down these stairs, I want to go grind this handrail or grind this ledge. Like there were a pocket of us in Queens who rode, and we came together and exchanged information, and challenged one another. And then from there was like going outside of my neighborhood, finding kids who rode in Manhattan or rode in Brooklyn. And I discovered Union Square. And Union Square was this kind of, in a sense, a mecca for BMXing, skateboarding, like all these alternative sports. We would meet up there and hang out for hours, jump down the stairs, eat lunch there, eat dinner there, just challenge each other to different like bike tricks and whatnot. And that was the community that I really banded to. Like, that allowed me to learn more about the sport, learn more about how to become a professional BMX athlete and things of that nature.
You mentioned Dave Mirra. You eventually signed to Miracle team, I think you're around 18 years old. But it's like you be in the hood and you can see, if it's Edwin De La Rosa or Tyrone Williams, Skinny Tannis, those guys.
Right.
I think you were a big Mark Hoffman fan as well. And those still aren't necessarily people who have done and extended what it means to be a BMX rider the way that you have. So when you think about some of your vision, some of the things, like you said, your parents weren't going to be able to see, how did those start to develop for you?
It was the things that I seen growing up, right? So I would see cats in my neighborhood with dope cars. I was like, man, like, eventually I want to obtain that, or watching how my mom and my brother would style their fits. So you think about those two things, right? Like, okay, when I got to a certain point with BMX, I was able to afford certain things and understood how brand partnerships work and understand how I can inject myself into different industries. For example, fashion, right? Everything I'm doing in the fashion space, that's just what I've seen as a kid, right, with my mom and my brother. Their love for fashion, and that rubbing off on me. Now, I took that and say, well, how can I now inject myself in BMX riding into like the fashion space, right? Same thing with my partnership with Mercedes-Benz, right? Like growing up loving cars, even though I ride bikes, but I love like cars as well. How do I work with a brand, like an automobile brand? It just so happens that I met the team at Mercedes and we started working together.
Just so happens. Yeah, I got you.
Like, it just happened like
I drive
that.
a Tundra.
You got a what? You got a Tundra?
I drive a Tundra. So yeah, I wish I just so happened to, like, those things are because of your talent. Those things are because of your vision, your creativity. You know, even mentioning that 95% of the things that go through for Nigel Sylvester, you signed off on.
Right,
like those
100%.
are things that you are a part of. The cool part about our show is we've gotten to sit down with pioneers. And those pioneers are usually in realms and worlds we understand, right? When you get a football, we see people with footballs who look like us. We've seen them come from our communities to become stars or transcend the sport. When you think of basketball, I mean, that is us, right? You know, you've been used to seeing that, but for someone at your age to have that passion, but pursue it in the way that you have, and actually amplify and change the way that it's done. To say, you know, we're gonna start a docuseries and go, and people are gonna get to see me move around in these different places and be in these different spots, or I'm gonna publish a book and I'm a sumo wrestle, I'm a jump out of planes, I'm a drive Ferraris, all of these things that maybe if you're talking about the people familiar and traditionalist of what you do, that necessarily wasn't what it was about. How did you find the bravery to say, I know I look different, I know I sound different, I know it's gonna feel different, but I'm going to embrace those differences and show you how I can also shed a brighter light on what we do?
It was a natural progression, right? So after I turned pro at 18, right, I signed with Miracle Bikes and I signed with Nike. So I came out the gate with this presence and this understanding of how powerful the BMX bicycle is and how powerful my will to succeed. From there, started to use the internet, right? Started to use social media to really control my narrative. With each small win, you know, whether it was putting out a video and it going viral, or whether it was reaching out to a brand and saying, listen, man, I'm doing this over here, take a shot on me. And they're like, okay, cool, we'll try. And then we achieved that success. Started to build, and I have this snowball effect. So when you speak about doing the Go series, right? That was a culmination of all these experiences that I wanted to create a content platform, right? That I can create access for people who may not necessarily ride BMX bikes, but would be into my brand, right? Also a place for me to say, cool, I do BMX riding, right? I'm a professional athlete, but I also like traveling, also enjoy music, also enjoy fashion, also enjoy art, technology, etc. And that's how the Go series started. The first episode, we shot it in 2015 and we put it on YouTube. Really didn't have a marketing plan behind it or strategy. I just wanted to put this piece of content out and share with the world what I was doing on my bicycle and throughout my career. And that video went viral in a matter of days and changed the trajectory of my career forever.
Were you like, ooh, got him? You know what I'm saying?
I was like, okay. This is how this goes, okay.
And with that, Nigel, creativity. RC mentioned creativity. You mentioned Nike, right? In your videos, what goes into the creative process, the planning, the execution? What's the thought behind it? Do you have a team or is it all you?
No, I have an amazing group of people that I work with. We'll be having an idea, right? Okay, this is what I'm thinking about. Put it on paper, and we'll break it down. And as we're filming it, as we're creating it, things change. That's the natural creative process, you know. But I've been very fortunate to live out my imagination, and I've been very vocal about that, you know, because a lot of the things that people see me doing, it's the first time it's been done, right? And that comes literally from my mind. Of course, I'm inspired by certain things, whether it's a movie or a book, TV show, an athlete, whatever it may be. I use that inspiration, think about, okay, how can I apply that to BMX riding and what I do? And a lot of these things that like even we just did this amazing event called Go Ride. And
It was crazy, like just the
it was insane.
photos. Yeah.
I was inspired by the idea of planting my bicycle wheels on 2 continents in the same day. So we started in London, probably had a few hundred kids out there, jumped in a jet, flew to New York. We landed here, there's probably about 500-600 kids out there.
Wow.
And we did 15 miles each city. And it was this moment that we galvanized 2 incredible bicycle scenes and celebrated World Bicycle Day through Go Ride.
Chan, you jump on jets from London to New York. You play football. That's what you do?
No, I was about to ask about this monetization because this is crazy. Some of the things that he is speaking of.
Make sure you throw Nike back in there too. I wanted to ask about that too again.
You use the bike to become an amazing businessman and marketer is what I'm kind of figuring out. I would say you're richer than most BMX guys, correct?
I do good for myself.
But
Man.
just like,
You see that look off?
I'm not trying to. I count your pockets. It's some stuff online, but no, it's to where you took your passion, but what you're doing business-wise, you call it your vision and you know your creative side, and you made it more than riding the bike.
Right.
The bike is the vehicle for your business savvy and you marketing yourself because you just said you're going up. Because I saw GQ, I saw Vogue and Nike, Mercedes, bring all these people. You're going to them personally and saying, you're marketing yourself on a bike. So is the bike the means of income or is it your drive as a businessman and a marketer?
At this point in my life, yeah, it's my drive as a businessman, but the bicycle is at the center of it all. You know, like the bicycle is the most authentic thing to me. You know, like without the bicycle, then I'm not sitting here with you guys now. And I always say how boundless the bicycle is. Like literally it crosses social classes, religion, race. You know, like it's the most accessible means of transportation in the world. You know, so I've been able to ride my bicycle and partner with a lot of amazing brands and get featured in a lot of incredible media outlets and meet amazing people and create content. But it all starts with the bike. And yeah, like monetizing my talent, monetizing my vision, that's always been something that was important to me. You know, it was my way out of my neighborhood, out of my situation. And I've always said to myself, I want to be able to support myself and people around me. That's super important to me.
You keep talking about this bike, right? It's major, it's the most important, it's the #1 means of transportation in the world. Bro, you ain't just getting from A to B. Actually, you just told the world when you want to get from A to B, you fly on a jet, right? So like all this, like you have this sly humility. Yeah, it's just the bike, and that bicycle has done.
But that's what it is.
You know
though.
what I mean? But it's okay when you take your bike, right? When you take your bike and you roll up on some folks, you're like, hey, I'm Nigel. This is my BMX. You know what I mean? Like, what type of cachet do you feel like you have in that world? What sort of notoriety, of popularity, how do people gravitate towards you? Because a lot of times, and we've talked to athletes who are not the traditional athlete that they're used to seeing, and sometimes it takes a while to get familiar with them, familiar with the way they move, the way they talk, the way they behave, the way that they're approaching the actual sport or career. How do you feel you've been received as a BMX rider?
At first, people downplayed it, right? Like, when I was a kid, people would call me a white boy because the world associated BMX riding as a white sport. So I had to first break down that on like the ground level in my neighborhood and going to school and whatnot. That was first. Once I achieved a certain level of success, right, like turning pro, especially at 18 years old, like I'm still a kid, you know what I mean? And coming into this world, eyes wide open, not really knowing what's going on, and having to figure things out, having to navigate through this industry and dealing with company owners and team managers and media people and the vultures that come along with that as well. You know, that was also a process. And then as I continued to rise and my star got higher within the sport, now I start to deal with the haters. why does he get to do all of these things? He doesn't compete in contests, right? Or like companies are just signing him because he's black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was all of those things. Starting to deal with that envy and that jealousy from even people close to me, you know, and having to navigate that, you know, having to learn how to conduct my business and be a professional. That's something that's super important that no one sat me down and told me these things, right? Like no one sat me down and told me how to write an email or how to show up in a boardroom. These are the things I had to learn firsthand, like trial by fire. But I attribute my parents and my family, like, for raising me the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, shout out to my mother, love her so much. But how I show up now, I show up as me, like 100% myself. You know, I show up as Nigel Sylvester, the professional BMX athlete.
Channing asked The Rock a question, and it started with him telling The Rock that he was better in football than The Rock was.
I am.
Yeah, because he said, I made millions.
I went to the league, he didn't.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Facts is facts,
Come
right?
on, DJ.
Yeah, and then he told him, and he's like, you're actually not the best actor I've ever seen as well.
Oh, you was shooting, huh?
Oh, it was terrible.
How many happy dads you had before you said all that?
It was terrible, man. But in that sense, you say you had to deal with the haters or people saying he's just getting these deals or getting these opportunities because of. When you look at yourself as it pertains to the sport in a moment of self-awareness, self-reflection, are you the dopest doing it, right? Because the way you've transcended the sport and what you've been able to create for yourself as a singular brand, nobody's ever been able to do that, right? And where we come from, that normally happens. Like you get to be Tom Brady because you go win 7 championships, right? You get to be Patrick Mahomes because you go win 2 and MVP. When you look at yourself, you're like, yeah, man, when it comes to this trick or how you said, cutting this edge or ledge or whatever the hell y'all do on these.
Rail grind.
Rail grind.
Grind the rail.
Oh, you gonna know that. You gonna know
Was
that.
it curb cutting?
No,
Cutting the curb.
it's jumping the curb cut. So you know, like on the curb, like when like the part that goes down into the street that you actually walk up, how that's like lower than the actual curb. So that's a curb cut. So like when you like hit that corner, it's a ramp. So you use that and you get air.
Yeah, I'm scared of that. But like, are
Why
you
would you be scared of that?
Cause that's dumb.
How is it dumb?
Cause you could get hurt.
So this part right here, right? So earlier you said you're basically a daredevil, and I'm not a daredevil, right? At all. No, like, and I'm trying to
No, I'm with you.
But
I'm with it.
I'm not a daredevil, right? And people
Jumped out of a plane.
No, but hold on. But people have tried to classify me as that for a long time. I'm a professional athlete, right? And people look at BMX riding and say it's so dangerous. But I think it's just as dangerous as if you're a running back coming through a hole and you there waiting to take his head off. It's just as dangerous.
Yeah, people look at it and call it crazy
You know what I
sometimes.
mean? Like-
That's true.
I would have to say, though,
No, I mean, it's a little bit more extent
How is it not?
in BMX, right? But I think repetition, right? That allows you to assess the risk management. You've seen it, you've done it.
Exactly.
Much
The
like
same-
us.
the same way you train,
People
right?
say, look, you gotta run into this 250-pound guy for a living, and some people might call that daredevilish.
Right.
Or crazy even. So I get what you're saying. You're a pro.
Exactly,
You're a pro.
right? Like, I go out and I train,
I'm with him.
and I
I
ride, and I
understand.
practice a trick a million times. Same way that you guys would practice whatever a million times. You know what I mean? And you can judge the risk. You say, you know what? I've done this 1,000 times. I put my 10,000 hours in. I know I can go and execute this trick at the highest level. It may look very dangerous, but it's all calculated.
Nigel, have you ever seen a man lose a battle? Like, have you ever watched a man lose? Like, he's the linebacker. As a
Right.
linebacker, is Channing gonna win every time?
Not every
Right,
time.
so sometimes he's gonna lose,
Right.
right? Same with Fred, same with myself as a safety.
Right.
You know what's never lost? The damn cement. The cement
So-
ain't took no L's.
So
you know what else
what?
ain't took no L's?
So you know what?
The rail.
So you know what?
Yeah.
Don't fall. Simple as that.
Well, you get in 10,000 hours, you gotta fall, Nigel.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna go back to.
The same way, like, you as an athlete, right? Like, knock on wood, like, you don't want it to happen, but injury's part of the game.
Right.
Probably all been hurt here before, you know? We'll have to sit down. It's part of the game. But we love the game, right? So we sacrifice and we pick ourselves up and we go back out there. It's the same thing with BMX riding. Yeah, I may miss a rail or I may fall off a ledge and I fall down. My shins are super bruised up, but I get back up every single time and go ride again by like the grace of God. You know what I mean?
A big part of your well-being is, especially from a business standpoint, is when you're doing your content and making your videos, is the creativity part,
right?
But also the execution, right? But you're assessing the risk. Like, what's too far off for you to try or not try, and how often do you get like a one take?
Oh wow,
that's a good question. A lot of times, like, you do land a trick one take, and you're like, damn, that felt too easy. You know what I mean? As far as the creativity part, right? Like, that's the process, right? Thinking of the ideas is one part. Executing it is the next part, and executing at the highest level possible. That's what I strive for. It's not just about doing a trick. It's not just about closing a deal or executing an idea. It's like, I want to execute that at the highest level and set that bar. I hold myself to a very high standard. You know, right? So like when we sit here and say, oh man, like you've wrote books and done these crazy events and created these viral videos and you have an amazing list of brand partners, like, yeah, like that all comes from repetition. It all comes from challenging myself. And each time I get an opportunity to go as hard as I possibly can and execute at that level where people are like, damn, like it looks flawless in a sense. Make it look easy. But it's not at all.
What type of injuries have you sustained, you know, over your career, and what's the typical career expectancy in BMX?
So I turned pro at 18, and well, a little bit after my 18th birthday, and on my 19th birthday, I broke my wrist, and that was a crazy moment, right? Because I just turned pro. I'm now proving people in my neighborhood and my family wrong. Like, I actually did it, right? The thing you guys thought I couldn't do, I did it. And then I break my wrist, and it's like, damn. And in my mind, I'm like, man, like, am I ever gonna like ride the same again? This is the first time I've ever been injured on that, like on that level. I'm like, damn, people are gonna think like this is what it is, right? You did it, but you only lasted a year. Right. You know, I was nervous, right? And I had a big cast on my arm, bro. Like I remember it was like summertime, and I'm the hanger, and I'm like trying to scratch it because I'm like, yo, this thing is itchy. Yeah, like,
Itchy ass out of here.
You know what I mean? Like, it was the thing, and then I'm home. At that point, I'm still living at home, and my mom's coming home, like, see, kind of told you so. I'm like, damn, like, so that was a moment where I had to be mentally tough as well. And I healed up, and I got back on my bike, and I was better than ever. And from that point, there's been, like, bruises and sprains, things of that nature, but again, like, thank God, like, knock on wood, like, that was the worst injury. That's the answer to that first part of the question. Right. Second part of the question was
career expectancy as a pro BMX.
As long as your body's good, it's all about taking care of your body. You know, I've been pro for 17 years.
Right.
Dang.
You know, a lot of guys don't get that type of run in any sport. You know what I mean, like at all. But again, like just taking care of your body, being smart, assessing that risk, right? Not every trick you think about doing is worth going out there and trying.
Right.
You know, sometimes you're like, you know what? I want to do it. I know I have the ability to, but I'm gonna just pass on that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I feel I've done a really good job at assessing that risk. And again, like by the grace of God, you know what I mean?
It is athletic.
Right.
But it's, you know, the riding the bike is just funny to say professional athlete, but we don't look at it that way.
Why not though?
Because the bike's doing a lot of it.
I can't do any of it.
Yes, like
if you put a bike here and sit it down, it's gonna just stand there.
But I can't run my ass on a rail like the bike. Like I don't know. Like I just say, like I don't look at it as
Like so, would you look at? So do you see it kind of as like if you fly a jet, you're not a professional athlete?
No,
Right,
like
because
with the NASCAR guys. I've been doing for years. I've been arguing with NASCAR guys. You're not an athlete. You're sitting in a car. You are doing more physically than a NASCAR driver when you're pedaling and jumping and whipping the bike whips on the curb jumps.
Right.
But I like the professional athlete. It's me. Correct me. Like let me know why I'm wrong with this.
No, it is right because yeah, like anyone could jump on a bicycle and ride around, right? Most people can actually do a little bunny hop.
Yeah.
But can you get 4 or 5 feet off the ground? You know what I mean? Can you position this bicycle to do what you want it to do? Can you like manipulate it to get on this rail and go up it and then do a 180 and bar spin and land and turn around and ride away?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the professional
can't
athlete
even
part
say
of
that.
it, because you're an expert at doing what you're doing. You
So
feel
like
me?
everybody can play football in the street, but
Right.
you have to be special at it to be a professional
Right.
athlete to do that.
Exactly. You got the special.
And along this path with professional athletics comes certain things. Do women be like, ooh, you saw his rail curve? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you have bike groupies? You know, rubberies, I don't know, tires.
What's a rubbery?
With the rubber tire. With the rubber tire, I don't know.
Like roadies, like for band.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a band, you got roadies.
Yeah, like.
I mean, yeah, like they want to jump on the handlebars and ride around. Like, can I jump on your pegs? Like, that'd be the vibe. Like, seriously, so I get it, right? Like, because BMXing isn't as popular as traditional sports, and it's not, right? Like, we don't have guys on ESPN talking about, yo, did you see this double bar spin that Nigel just did? You know what I mean? For what I understand of being a professional athlete in any sport, all those things apply to BMX riding as well. You know what I mean? Like, it comes with the ups, it comes with the downs. It comes with learning, again, how to be an amazing athlete on the bicycle, but also being an amazing athlete off the bicycle.
Yep.
Being a businessman, you know what I mean? Like, being present. It comes with those outside influences. You know what I mean? Like, and you have to manage that, right? And again, it comes with the territory. You know what I mean? I live in the public eye, right? Like, I'll go outside, people are gonna be like, oh, what's up, Nigel? You know what I mean? You walk into a spot, it might be girls like, oh, what's going on? But again, it's about just being present and handling your business.
I have a question about risk assessment.
Right.
Right? My risk assessment has changed as my bank account has changed. I'm just being honest.
As it should.
That's changed it, and my age changed it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a son that plays football, and like I go to games and I like wince and I flinch when things happen, and not when it's just him, just when like these athletic, explosive, dynamic athletes are running around and running into each other. And I never had that as a young athlete. And I just remember even getting older, watching preseason games, I'd be sitting on the sideline and I'd be like, golly, like, why am I doing this? But when I was 24 and I was 25 and I was trying to eat and I was hungry, I never had those thoughts. Right? And you said, oh, you know what, that trick, we're not gonna try it today. Right? As your career's grown and as you've become Nigel Sylvester, the brand, has risk assessment changed for you? Have you become a different sort of biker? Have you said, you know what, was it back in the day when you were willing to break your wrist, or when you did break your wrist, were there tricks you would try it in because it was worth it, because I was trying to get there, I'm trying to eat, I'm hungry, that now you'd be like, you know what, I actually don't need to do that because the Montclair ad just ran. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool. The Jordan, the ones just dropped.
Check out that bank account.
Yeah. So
let's go to lunch.
Yeah. Do you look at things differently?
Ride it out. Right?
Yeah. Do you look at things differently now than you did at the beginning of your career, as far as that risk assessment, though?
Of course, like, I've matured as an athlete and as a young man. You know what I mean? But I'm more hungry now than I was then. Like, overall, you know, as far as like bike riding, yeah, like I look at bike riding differently now. I ride differently. Things come to me easier now. You know what I mean? Like, bike riding is 90% mental, you know, and I feel like at this point in my career, I'm using all of my brain when I think about certain tricks or how I want to go approach a line, or whatever the case may be. Am I just jumping down things the way I did when I was 18, 19 years old? Nah. But am I still going just as hard? Yes. You know, because I love riding my bicycle. I love what I do. Again, it gives me purpose. It fulfills me and it fuels me. But yeah, like, I have to think about it where it's like, okay, I got to go shoot this campaign next week. So maybe this week I should kind of chill for a little bit. And then I'll go crazy next week. So that's how I assess it now, you know, because, yeah, like, I am a brand now, right? And there's multiple facets to my brand. So I have to think about way more now than I did back then. But again, like, I embrace the challenge, man. I love it.
What's been your biggest pivot?
I don't think there's one major pivot that I had to take, I think it's a culmination of a lot of different ones, right? A lot of smaller ones, you know? I remember when I first got an agent, I was 20 years old. I was signed to Nike already, and dude named Brad hit my phone, like, yo, this beverage company wants to sign you, and I want to be your agent. I was like, cool, no doubt. But at that point in time, to have an agent was kind of looked down upon in the world of BMX that I was
You went
in.
commercial.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, at that point in time, it was the very, like, anti-corporate, anti-all of that. Like, we over here doing our thing. Like, it was kind of, like, not looked good upon to try to go and make money. You know, they kind of, that label a sellout, which is, I think is absurd. You know what I mean? But when to a point where, like, when I signed with this agent, I kind of hid it for a minute. I was like, man, like, I don't want people to know I have an agent, because I want people to look at me like I'm trying to do this thing, you know what I mean? But then I adjusted to it. And I was like, cool, like, I'm gonna embrace it. So that was a pivot. You know, that was just one early on in my career. You know, dealing with the type of success I was achieving in the world of BMX. And again, like, having people starting to hate on me because of my success and dealing with that, right? Like, at first I was angry about it. I was like, don't y'all see I'm trying to help the sport?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was coming at me from every different direction, right? This is early social media days where, like, people just write whatever they want. They still do. But this is me as an athlete coming into my own and waking up to crazy comments or waking up to headlines that are on, like, different BMX websites and media outlets that are, like, calling me out of my name or trying to paint a picture of me that like wasn't true to me. You know, so having to deal with that and having to be like, you know what? I'm not gonna let the hate define me. I'm not gonna let the negative energy define me. I'm gonna be the bigger person, and that again was having to adjust and pivot. You know, dealing with injury, you know, things of that nature. All these different moments in my career, I feel those are these smaller pivots that I've had to constantly endure.
Because you said sellout,
Right.
and also you talking about risk assessment. You was in the Body magazine. You had your ass out. And speaking of risk assessment, why in the hell are you on a bike naked and you was in the air? Your man is in trouble if something goes wrong. Was that CGI or something? Did you
That
really
was
do
real.
bicycle tricks butt naked?
That was real.
Why?
It's a body issue.
I know, but maybe, I don't know. Because I know when I had a vasectomy, they take a big piece of tape and they tape your man up to your stomach. Not way up there, just further down. I need to understand the situation of biking naked.
Hey, because the seat got to go somewhere.
Listen, y'all know what I'm getting at. Y'all don't want to ask. I need to know.
It wasn't like I was riding around the streets naked. Like, it was a closed set.
Yeah.
And I did like 2 bunny hop tricks, and they got the shot in, and we stopped. It wasn't like I wanted to ride naked.
Oh, okay.
It was art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to your point, like, that's probably one of the best things in my career.
Really?
100%. I was in ESPN magazine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And probably for the other
You get
career.
me?
Yeah. we on the
You
same
know what I
page.
mean? Like, went that way after that. but also, I was alongside world-class athletes. So it legitimized the fact that I am a professional athlete, right? Like, that was what was important to me. I've always been fighting for that, because a lot of times people have this misconception of BMX riding because you don't really know what it is. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have a league behind us. We don't have a major TV deal. We don't have these things. Having to break down to people what it really is and break down these misconceptions has always been something that's super important to me. I always want to control that narrative, you know what I mean? And not let people label me as something that I'm not.
This is the pivot. We travel a lot. For the last 18 months, we travel probably once a week. We fly about once a week,
amazing.
right? He ain't riding a bike naked, but his big ass will ride his little cart through the airport. He rides his little remote control cart, but he broke it.
How you break it?
I'm too damn big.
He big, but the point I'm getting at is this.
Oh,
One of
you
your
travel
brand
with the
part-
cart?
It's called a ride bot, the little loop suitcase that you sit on and scoot
Oh,
around.
I seen those, right?
Yeah,
He got one of
okay.
those, but he broke it. Your brand partner, Ramoa,
Yeah, Ramova.
you created a bike case
Yeah.
to travel with, because just like Channing, he travels with backpacks now, 2 backpacks. Can you plug us? Like, can we get a pivot plug?
That's easy.
You don't need to beg for no shit from me. I can find my own
No,
shit.
I said us.
It's a group thing.
It's a group thing.
You guys be matching through the airport to
Just that-
removers. Like,
Just that concept, though, it had to be a beautiful thing, right? You got a hard case for your bike
Yeah.
and not a duffel bag.
yeah, nah, it's amazing. So for my entire career, I've been traveling with a repurposed golf bag, right? Because it just so happens that when I break my BMX bike down, it fits perfect in a travel golf bag. But it's also been this thing where I'll pull up to the airport and people are like, well, where'd you golf at today, this weekend? You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't golf. You know what I mean? Like, it's that thing, right? So it just got annoying after all these years. Also because that bag isn't designed for my bicycle. It fits, but it's not designed for my bicycle. So when I teamed up with Ramova, we set out to create a solution, to create a BMX travel case that's designed for me in mind. And it's beautiful, you know, and that was an amazing feat to have a brand like that design the first ever Ramova BMX bike case, which is incredible. You know, it's a one-on-one piece, and people went crazy for it.
That's how you take your career with you, and you're gonna take us home on this show. I don't know how BMX riders retire. I also don't know what they do when they do retire. But what we've learned here today is you're not just an ordinary BMX rider. You've created this brand that extends far past that. What tells you, or what makes you put your bike up, and what is left for you after that?
My gut will let me know when it's time. And after that, I just hope that I'm able to continue to live out my imagination, continue to do the things that are real to me, the things that make me happy, the things that bring me joy and happiness, honestly. You know what I mean? Whether that's in the world of business or fashion or travel, whatever it may be, film and television, right? Like, you think about what I've done in like the content space, right? The natural evolution for that is to start making movies soon, you know what I mean? So long as I can continue to do what is real to me, I'll be happy.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's dope, man. And also, I just want to give you just appreciation for continuing to give back. The Nigel Sylvester Foundation, the things that you are doing in the communities to show that there are so many different ways to come from where we come from and be successful, but there also leads us to different ways of giving back, man. You just have a dope story. We appreciate you, sharing it with us. I don't know about riding a bike naked, riding a rail, grinding a rail.
You guys should come ride it with me while you in town. How about that?
No. Hey, now we can film. Hey, we'll film it and we'll get some of that good viral work. You know what I mean? But riding what? Hell nah, man. Appreciate you though, big dog.
No, thank you so
That was
much.
dope, man.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me, man. For real.
Hey,
Man.
I know he be walking into them brand meets smooth as hell. Hi, I'm Nigel. Yeah, he saw he walked in. Hey, he walked in like Jordan too. He walked in.
Hold up, limitless. Niggas to me, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Limitless. Niggas to me, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up.